Hi, my name is TJ. I'm with On Point Archery in Norwalk, Connecticut. Today, I want to talk about bow tuning. Bow tuning is probably the most often overlooked and underrated aspect to any compound bow. If you have a bow that is improperly tuned, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get the kind of grouping in the arrows that you want. Here at our shop, we have something called a basic tune. And the most important things you're going to want to pay attention to is, first things first, is string condition. If you start to see some little fuzzies coming off the string, that's completely normal. It happens over time. String wax can keep that at bay. But if you start to see broken strands on your bowstring, that's when it's time to get a replacement. Additionally, some bows that have been strung for a long, long time, these strings don't stretch anymore because they're a synthetic fiber, but the fibers will seat together, which can cause something called string creep, which ultimately will make the string and or cables longer, is going to affect the tune of your bow. Here at On Point Archery, we critique the following when it comes to bow tuning. Number one, we're going to check your cam timing. When I pull this bow back, these wheels need to rotate at exactly the same time and impact their draw stop at the same moment. In this case, it would be the cable. This here is the stop, as well as right here. And when this cam rotates around, this stop is what impacts your cable and creates your back wall and sets not only your bow timing, but your draw length. When you pull it back, if they're not touching at the same time, your bow is out of tune, which is going to cause erratic arrow flight. Cam timing only comes into play with a dual cam bow. A dual cam bow means it has an egg-shaped wheel at either end of the bow. A single cam bow means it only has one egg-shaped wheel. The benefits to a single cam bow are it doesn't go out of time. This is one giant string wrapped around the bow, so as much as you pull it, even if there is string creep, the cams won't be out of timing. The second thing we check would be our alignment. It's really easy to check. Find a straight edge on the cam, lay a straight surface, usually an arrow, right alongside it, and you want to see that arrow running in line with the string. If the arrow's off like this or the arrow's off like that, that means that your cam alignment is not appropriate, and it's going to, again, cause erratic arrow flight. Now, if you've had your bow advanced tuned, i.e. paper tuned, sometimes that string's not going to run parallel with that cam, but that's intentional because that was changed to create good arrow flight. Unless your bow's ever been paper tuned, your string should be running straight with an arrow laid aside the cam. The next thing that we would check here would be our center shot. You at home can also check that as well. If you knock an arrow and you hold the back of the bow level, if you put the string right in the middle of the riser and look down towards the arrow as it's knocked, it should lay in line with the arrow going down. That's called your center shot. If you do that and the arrow's facing this way or that way, again, your arrow's never going to fly the same way twice, and you're going to run into problems when it comes to accuracy. Some of the other things that come in our basic tune package is we check what's called second axis leveling. When this bow is exactly 90 degrees to the ground, that bubble should be in the middle. You have to check that with some tools and a bubble level. It can be corrected. Some sites offer the ability to change the direction of the sight to get that level. There's a bubble on the bottom of some of these sights, and you'll notice that this bubble is all the way off on the left-hand side. And this sight allows for what's known as second axis leveling. So now we can simply tighten this sight down by these Allen keys to set it where it needs to be, so that when this bow is 90 degrees, it will be in the middle. Sights that don't have a second axis leveling adjustment are going to need to be shimmed to create the ideal level. In addition to having the correct draw length, we would also check draw weight. To know if you have the best draw weight for your bow, the test generally is to sit down on the floor or some other surface, put your back up against something hard like a tree or a wall, and you're going to try to pull that bow back while after putting a white paper plate at 20 yards. When you pull that bow back, you should be able to keep that front sight within that paper plate as you're pulling it back. If you're like this while you're pulling it, you're what's called overbowed, and you're not going to get the kind of accuracy. You're going to get tired. It's better to have good form and be shooting the appropriate draw length than to shoot the higher draw weights. A long time ago, it was pretty common to see compound bows in the 80-pound, up past 70-pound draw weight range. The logic behind that is it's going to make the arrow fly faster and a faster arrow shoots flatter, which is going to give you a smaller margin of error at whatever yardage you're shooting. With the design of today's compound bows, if it's tuned appropriately, you could shoot 50, 55, 60 pounds and be more deadly accurate than some of the 80-pound bows of the past. Those are some of the things that we cover here. Bow inspections at our shop are always free, but now you kind of have an idea of what to look for at home. So if you have a bow, you're not sure what your condition or your tune is, check. So those are some of the things to jump off and check. And if any of those issues need addressing and you don't have the training to do it, a qualified bow shop will be able to help you out. Thanks for watching. Shoot straight and shoot often.